What up, people? Coach V, New Breed Boxing. Got a great question from my man Pablo. He said, Coach, I want to go into the competitive side of things, but I don't want to be in the trenches under the wrong supervision and get myself hurt. So how do I know I got the right guy in my corner? How do I know my coach is the real deal? Great question. And that tells me two things. Number one, you have a great survival instinct. Putting that at the forefront and showing your concern for your self-preservation means I think you're going to be all right. That's a plus that you already have that internally. Two, the fact that you get the vibe you might have the wrong guy in your corner. Going into a fight with that mental uncertainty of his competence as a coach is going to be something that's going to hinder your performance, and you don't want that kind of energy going into a fight. So let me give you some advice on how to look for a coach. Nowadays, there's like an epidemic of fake coaches, guys that see the lane is wide open to make money in the sport of boxing, because there's not a lot of good boxing coaches out there. So, there's a lot of room to fill that void. With that being said, some guys got a good line of shit. They got a certain look, and they can string you along and take you for a ride long enough until you get put in a situation where you might get hurt. So here's what I would say to look for. Number one, they got to be licensed. They got to have an amateur USA Boxing amateur license, or if they're professional, be sanctioned with the local state athletic commission, and that's their licensing. But that's not enough, because no disrespect, but anybody with like a third grade education can pass the quiz to be a coach or a fighter for either of those and be legal. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. So then the step after that would be to make sure that their experience matches their credentials. I would be looking for a guy with minimum coached 40, 50 fights under his belt, with a winning record preferably, and should have at least 4 or 5 years in the gym. There's not a lot of amazing coaches out there like the Custom Models and the Eddie Futches or whatever, all these kind of legendary coaches. Not a lot of those guys out there. So your chances of finding one are going to be difficult. If you do, God bless you, but you're going to have to settle for, a decent coach, which is great because you can help each other out. Because it's a union, you know what I mean? Like sometimes a great fighter can make a good coach a better coach, you know what I mean? So, and vice versa. So, but anyway, you're working together. Should he have, a bunch of like world-class fighters under his belt though? Like I said, that's not really a prerequisite. Some guys are just local coaches and they're cool with that. And maybe they haven't found that one special fighter that can take them to the next level. But at the end of the day, if they don't have those kind of experiences behind them, I think you're going to be learning on the job, and you don't want to be a crash dummy in the ring for a guy that is just experimenting, and he might wind up becoming a tennis coach next year or some other shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't just want a random person to be walking you into the ring. Not for a club show, and definitely not for a tournament, because when you're talking tournaments, you don't get to choose who you fight. You're going to fight whoever shows up, and whoever's going to show up at a tournament is going to be more serious than the average guy at a club show, because the real coaches out there that are grooming guys to be the next world beaters, world champions, they're going to come through these tournaments without a doubt, and they're taking no prisoners, and it's going to be sink or swim. So when that bell rings, you better make sure that you got everything you need and then some, and you better make sure you got the right guy in your corner, because there's things that happen sometimes before, during, and after the fights that only a guy with experience will know how to handle. And if you're in there with a rookie, God be with you, man, because you're going to need all the luck you can get. And if you don't get a knockout, it ain't all on you, and it's up to him to step in, you're going to be asked out and you're going to regret it. So anyway, I hope you found this informative. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, share, put your experiences in the comment section, and go check me out on Instagram at coach.v_. So the next time we out here, out.